All right, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the fun stream. Seems always I do a Travis stream and then afterwards I get into kind of the nitty gritty, or there be religion or law. I guess today it'd be law. Ha ha ha. um, just a disclaimer here: this isn't legal advice. Do your own research or seek legal counsel if you want to. But don't expect too much from the legal counsel. Let's just say that. Uh, Today we're just going to go over court etiquette and uh, what to say. So basically, when you're in court, it's assumed that you're the trustee and that um, the justice or judge is the administrator and executor, and the crown prosecutor is the beneficiary, because he gets the benefit from your trust if you're found guilty as a trustee and you're liable, right? Um, so basically, we look at it from like the court's point of view. Um, you're the trustee, and you're brought in because you were acting in bad faith on behalf of the trust. That they'll never really disclose that to you, and this information, you ask about it with lawyers, they'll. My experience is, oh yeah, no, we don't delve into that law. Like, trust me, like if you even talk about your name, there's any even insinuation of this stuff that I'm about to get into, they will avoid you like the plague. Because they know, but they're not allowed to because they'll lose their license um, for this stuff. So this is how powerful this stuff is. Um, so uh, yeah, so basically you want to assert your rights, right? So it's actually pretty easier than reading 61 clauses of Magna Carta or writing this. But I mean, there's more if you want more remedy or more. If you want more remedy, yes, you'll have to learn more things. But when you're in court and it's talking about, like, if there's an accusation against you for standing or interrupting a CPR class, whatever, hypothetically saying, of course, uh, you want to address, I'm the authorized. You have to think too. Um, the legal person that they summoned, it's not you. Think of it that way. It's not you. That's something else. It's another entity, right? Think of it as like a trust or like an object that has been summoned to court, and you have, and the court is assuming that you have some sort of responsibilities of that trust. And what you want to do is you want to undermine those assumptions. So anything that basically that goes unrebutted in the court of law is a statement of fact. Same thing with the affidavit. Any sworn affidavit that is unrebutted within a certain time period is a statement of fact. Um, so you keep that in mind as well too when you're um, doing it. And generally, I don't know. They just might leave, or they might they won't say anything. Probably they won't say anything. That's probably the worst reaction you'll get, because they won't say anything in a statement of fact. Actually, as the best, that's maybe the best thing. Actually, the worst thing is they leave, and then you have to. I don't know. I don't know what they do from there. This sounds like a win-win. But anyway, so yeah, so just state, I'm an authorized administrator and executor of the SDQV Trust, Jonathan Vance, and I appoint the Crown Prosecutor. That's what I was saying earlier. Make sure you don't appoint the judges that the judge in front of you. I appoint you, judge. Don't do that yet. Appoint the Crown Prosecutor, because the Crown Prosecutor is the one bringing the complaint to the um, to the stand. And yeah, I hope who is ever listening, yeah, I sent you an affidavit. Okay, so there you go, Elise. I hope you listen and send it off, right? Um, and and respond, because if you don't, you default. So you won't have a case against me. So I hope you, I really hope that you're listening, and then you're like, oh shit, I probably should respond to it. So I'm not scared of you. whoever you are. Anyway, Crown Prosecutor. Um, so yeah, so I'm the authorized administrator and executor of the STQV Trust, Jonathan Vance, and I appoint the Crown Prosecutor as a trustee, and I do not consent to being a surety of these proceedings. A surety is just basically somebody who is liable for the debt. Um, uh, so you're undermining that presumption, and if they don't rebut it, it's a statement of fact. Um, and then you also want to mention too. Um, yeah, so maybe let's back up a little bit. So when they call for your name, just say, "Yeah, I'm here for that matter. I'm not the legal person. That's my given name. I'm here to contravene court on the public record." Make sure you have it on the public record because I know everyone assumes that because it's government, it's all public. It actually isn't. It's all private. RCMP, CSIS, they'll have their private transcripts. So you want to make sure you have it on public, and then you go, okay, so on the public record, then you go into I'm an authorized administrator. I'm making a special limited appearance on behalf of the defendant who's right here. So point to your birth certificate or ticket or whatever it may be um, that has a name on it. And then you want to go into, as I understand it, Judge, there's a charge filed with the clerk and or police officer against the trust with the false accusation of whatever your accusation is. Kind of make it your own, right? That's the thing. It's kind of once you understand these principles, you want to make it your own. And then you basically want to say, I want the bond to be brought forward to prove that I'm a trustee. Is there any trustee here? Is there any proof that I'm a trustee here? And then if there's no proof, that's an affirmation of fact, statement of fact, unrebutted. And and then and then you go into kind of you go, I'm going to motion to dismiss, and because the crown prosecutor and I appoint the crown prosecutor and the judge as the trustee, and I'm the administrator, executor, and beneficiary, I'm motioning to dismiss with prejudice and compensate me for the penalties of crime. That's another thing too. When you're in court, you want to get compensated because everyone else is getting compensated, but you're not, right? So, um, because you're acting as the administrator and executor, you want to get paid, right? Preferably really high because you don't want to be corrupted, right? Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You flip the tables because you have to think of it this way: like we're the government, right? And we're the government by the people for the people, and they're public servants, or you can also call them public trustees. And you want to kind of assert that and explicitly say that, and reserve all your rights as a man. So you don't have ridiculous things like happen to you, like spending 8 months in jail or interrupting a CPR class, right? Um, so yeah, that's just basically what I want to do. So with that kind of preamble, I'm just going to go into kind of the video I had. I had a debate with people. It was quite lively. Um, I apologize if there's any foul language or um, name calling. It was quite hostile environment, but I don't know if the part I'm showing you is going to have any, but just just prepare your ears. And yeah, so I'm just going to start screen sharing here. Just kind of bear with me here. All right, let's do it. So this is the debate I had with these are atheists. So I was making a case about we get our rights from God. And it's a superior title to exercise your human rights when all other avenues of this earthly plane have been exhausted. And that's basically the gist of it. And they're like, no, well, God doesn't exist. We get a contract or whatever. And they didn't really have a really good argument um, in terms of, you know, say evidence of God. In terms of like gaining a remedy, it was just like, just pay your taxes and follow the rules at all cost. And judges are always right. So they're kind of like idolaters, and they're always idolaters. They're looking for evidence of God in the face. So God rest their souls. Hopefully one day God will pierce their idolatry, and they will repent. But until then, you'll have some good content. So here we go.
But ultimately, that's something you're not willing to actually demonstrate, right? Because you're saying that they're not pushed around by governments, right? But I'm sure you drive a car. You have a license to drive.
Oh shoot! I just thought of it too. Give me 2 seconds. Just gotta do the audio. Hello. Is it a microphone or a stereo mix?
Stop.
Please,
Let
please.
Bert ask.
What is
Let
your
Bert ask the
area of
question.
expertise?
I was speaking about law and like how we get our
So you're a
human
lawyer?
rights from God.
Are you a lawyer?
I don't need to be a lawyer.
Okay, so
Then
you
you
have
don't
no
have an area
area
of
of expertise.
I agree, actually.
No
That's-
area.
Well,
that's not
it's
an
just
invalid
like,
question.
why do I need to
It is
be a
possible.
member of the British Alliance regulation,
It-
like regular?
What?
or
I just-
our
okay,
society?
Excuse me just for a
This
second.
is
I
what
want to point
I'm
out
talking about.
it is
It's
possible for people to have
technically.
expertise without having the academic credentials for it. Just wanted to point that out.
Assuming
Yeah,
that
like
being
it.
an expert in that area doesn't require academic credentials, because if it does,
he's a
then no, you're
sovereign
not
citizen.
an expert without having those
It's
credentials.
possible, but it's not likely in this case.
He's a
I agree
sovereign
with you,
citizen.
Randall.
He's
Yeah.
How do we know that?
So that's that. I get my rights from God. I don't get pushed
No, you
around
don't.
by
No, you don't.
despotic.
I just don't need.
But
to-
ultimately, that's something you're not willing to actually demonstrate, right?
Nope.
Because
what?
you're saying that you're not pushed around by governments, right? But
Right.
I'm sure you drive a car. Do you have a license to drive your car?
You don't need a license to drive a car. You only need a license to drive commercial.
Come on.
So
yeah.
do you
That's
drive
not
a
how
car?
it is in Canada.
Do
That's
you-
sovereign citizen.
Do
nonsense.
you drive a car?
You don't need
It's not
a
what I
driver's
asked you.
license.
You're not.
I-
You're not asking. You're not. I said,
exactly.
do you
You
have a
don't
car?
need a registration from the government
Not answering
Answer
saying
questions.
his
that you're
question.
supposedly a public servant
No.
Answer his
the-
Saying
question.
nothing.
Yeah,
of
he's not
the,
gonna answer the question.
Corporation of Canada.
Dude, Jonathan,
I may
answer his
have
question.
dealt with this before. Because this
The road
argument
doesn't-
ultimately fails because this is the problem.
The road.
They
I
say
love you guys
you
so
don't
much.
need, but when
I
it
love
comes down to it, they don't like being thrown in jail when they don't have a driver's license. Right?
It doesn't mean they're wrong.
Okay, so the social contract currently in place is that the society of men, which seems to be rebelling against God's authority because of divine mandate theory, right? So ultimately, it's these men who, when you drive and you don't need a license, throw you in jail. Then you go to a court and the judge sustains that, and then you appeal that and you go to the various appellate courts all the way up to the Supreme Court, and your arrest is sustained. What is your, other than violence against the state, what is your
I'm not
ramification
saying
in this?
violence. I'm not advocating
I didn't-
violence against the state.
I'm not done. Other than violence against the state or death and some change of absolution in the hereafter, what do you
Or
actually?
justice.
How can you actually show that there is some divine mandate outside that is given by men? I'm all about a secular mandate. And that's all we can demonstrate that we have.
Right. So, the courts
Thank you,
are there. There's actually a website you can actually go to called
I don't care.
International,
Oh my God.
where you can claim your status and you can claim your legal fiction. You can be you can claim your legal fiction, the trust. So when we were born, right, we each have birth certificates.
Please, can we stop this madness?
Well, this is what this is. I'm just going to tell you, you guys. This is the sovereign citizen shtick.
Yeah.
This is really it.
To be fair,
Yeah,
to be
the
fair,
sovereign
I'm just
citizen
responding to
bullshit.
his-
I will
I'm just
tell you-
responding to his argument as is that
Okay.
That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing.
Please do.
Okay. So basically, I won't get into the esoteric about the straw man and all that stuff and the Bible, but so basically, you have to. So if you have like, you have to kind of assert your status in court, because in court, what's presumed, right, is that you're the trustee of your legal fiction, in which in admiralty law you don't have any rights as a man. So what you have to do is you have to correct that status, you have to correct that presumption, or else you're just making claims and you're just shooting in the dark. You know, oh, they violated my constitutional claim, oh, they violated my common law claim to travel on the common law laws or common law highways, whatever. But the thing is, before you do that, before you make that claim, you have to correct your status. So you have to say, I'm the authorized administrator executor of, you know, Jonathan Vance. And then you have to appoint, you know, Crown prosecutor as a trustee or whatever. And then you have to make your case on why you're not the trustee.
And how often does that actually work? Because I have some statistics for it.
And I have some commentary here.
Just send him love, AJ. Good night. It was lovely.
Bye.
Good night,
everyone.
AJ Junior.
I hope we can
Bastard for leaving.
No,
Now
get
I-
AJ back in
I
at
shit
some
for
point.
myself.
I pay for my taxes, pay for the maintenance of the roads, the upkeep
I
of
pay
them,
taxes
the
too.
regulation of them to keep them safe. And
Right.
so part of that there's a requirement that everybody who's using these roads is properly licensed. The license indicates that they are responsible.
To bring it back to a
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up.
well,
Yeah.
John,
Hello. Okay, perfect. Let me check. All right, so that's just basically like and kind of devolves into name calling and all that stuff. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. And you know, I mean, a lot of people in the circles will use a straw man argument. Like, I know I said mention claim your legal tech. I'm like, yeah, absolutely do that. But there's ways you can use your birth certificate as an advantage to you as well too. So don't look at it as like a whole bad thing. And oh my God, the government signed it, and I don't have any rights. I mean, that's the first step of understanding it. Second step is how to use it to your advantage too, right? And so that's also a very important point as well to go one point across. And I hope that was maybe educational for you, and that I'm not just in the corner spouting this to myself. I'm actually going out and testing it. You mentioned about statistics and all that stuff. I mean, this information is really well hidden. I mean, I mentioned earlier, you can look up Dean Clifford, Winston Strout. They've had a lot of success with this. Things that the establishment doesn't want you to know, right? They did spend time in jail, but they were really aggressive about it. So, I mean, if you're just kind of if you just wanted to make it just a defense, just have remedy, absolutely, you feel free to indulge in this information and use it to your advantage. But and also research too, to verify, right? So that's another thing. And and so you generally, like, they might mess with you a little bit, but like, if you're starting to, like, you know start writing, like, you really get into it, it's like a whole it's a gold mine of information and action you can take against people, and that can really render them impotent, and so that you might get into a little bit of hot water with it. But I mean, if you're willing to take the licks, you can go for it. But I mean, if you're just a normal person, you just want to live your life and you don't want to get bothered by the government, absolutely, I mean, you might get get pulled over a little bit more than usual. But other than that, like, they're not gonna bother you, right? And it's on record, right? You put it on the public record. Make sure you put it on the public record when you do so. Um, I wouldn't get discouraged from using, and it's easy too. Like I just explain it to you, and I'm just, I feel like I should explain more, but I mean, there's more to it. But I mean, for like legal defense, I mean, this is basically you make it up, right? This is understanding those kind of core principles, both the trustee, the administrator, beneficiary, and those roles and kind of once you understand that, you can definitely you can make the case and get them to prove that you're a public servant. Get them to prove, instead of making claims and all that stuff, get them to prove that they have authority over you. If they can't, well, it's an affirmation. It's a statement of fact that there's no evidence. That's a great thing about law. So anyway, take it as it will. This is not legal advice. You can take this information as you will, use it to your advantage. That's up to you. So other than that, I hope that was educational and mind stimulating. And you guys have a good rest of your night. Until then, peace out.